والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. وقل رب زدني علما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ما كان لنبي أن يغل ومن يغل يأتي بما غل يوم القيامة ثم توفى كل نفس ما كسبت وهم لا يظلمون. أفمن اتبع رضوان الله كمن باء بسخط من الله مأواه جهنم وبئس المصير. هم درجات عند الله والله بصير بما يعملون. لقد من الله على المؤمنين إذ بعث فيهم رسولا من أنفسهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. صدق الله مولانا العظيم. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions a number of things, and the first issue which is mentioned here is the issue of the ghulul. Ghulul is basically pilfering from the spoils of war. It's a kind of theft, but it's a very serious kind of theft because it's not a theft from an individual, it's a theft from the community. So previously also, the previous ummah's ghulul was not to be taken at all. And it's mentioned in hadith that previously the spoils of war in the previous nations, the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding those spoils was that they were to be gathered together and a fire would come from the sky and burn it up. That's the end of it. And if the fire didn't come from the sky and burn those spoils, it means somebody has pilfered. And then, so there's a number of very interesting riwayats how they would be ascertained who was actually stolen. So it's a very serious offense. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here, وَمَا كَانَ لِنَبِيٍّ أَن يَغُلْ. So since it is it's a type of theft and it's a type of breach of trust. So this is not something that somebody of taqwa would do, much less a nabi. And so definitely this is not something that any prophet of Allah is conceivable that he would have committed a crime like that. So what's the context? There must be some context that brings about or that prompts the mention of this. And what is mentioned in tafsir is that actually a sheet of cloth was found to have been missing in the spoils. And so perhaps the hypocrites, they spread this, this false, as we say in today's false news, right? So that maybe the Prophet himself took it, because he has control over it, so he took it. Astaghfirullah. And of course the munafiqs are always doing their best to do whatever they can to sow discord and create mischief. So, or maybe even some of the Muslims who were not totally initiated in the concept of the protection of the Prophet from any type of wrongdoing, anyway, he just, that's his prerogative. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just squashes that whole possibility and states categorically it's not possible, it's not even thinkable that a prophet could take something from the spoils of war. And moreover, and whoever steals or pilfers something from the spoils of war, and spoils of war meaning that it's the collective property. It actually belongs to the entire army. The army that has actually been victorious, it's actually to be distributed among all of them. And so if it's taken and somebody goes away with it, then how is it going to be distributed thereafter to the army? So it's very, very serious because you can't even return it properly in the true sense. Whereas you steal from somebody and you come clean with that, and then it's possible to replace or return that to its rightful owner. Here, and so similarly, any sort of public trust, whether it's the government funds or, for example, a mosque or an institution, so funds which have been allocated for that, so stealing from that also takes the ruling of hulul, of this pilferage. And so whoever does so, that will be brought on the day of Qiyamah. Nabi ﷺ says, let me not find anyone. Nobody should come to me on the day of judgment with a camel on his neck. He says, Ya Rasulullah, help me. He said, I gave you the warning. Don't take anything, don't pilfer anything from these spoils. Don't take anything from the public property. So, ثُمَّ تُوَفَّى كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا كَسَبَتْ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. And any type of khiyanat, any type of breach of trust of this nature will come on the day of judgment, and every soul shall find what it has brought forward or what it has earned, and they will not be wronged in any way or shape or fashion. أَفَمَنِ اتَّبَعَ رِضْوَانَ اللَّهِ كَمَنْ بَاءَ بِسَخَطٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَمَأْوَاهُ جَهَنَّمُ بِئْسَ الْمَصِيرُ. So those who follow the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, following the pleasure of Allah means obey Him. Follow that which will bring about the pleasure of Allah, which is His obedience and abstaining from His prohibitions. So is he similar to the one, كَمَنْ بَاءَ بِسَخَطٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ? So can he be equal with that person who returns or achieves the anger and the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his final abode is Jahannam, وَمَأْوَاهُ جَهَنَّمُ وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرُ? What a terrible abode is that. هُمْ دَرَجَاتٌ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. And they have darajat. They have positions. Not everybody is going to be the same. Paradise is a huge place, unthinkably expansive. However, there are darajat according to the ranks, according to the a'mal. Just as in Jahannam there's darakat, munafiqs being in the last stage and last step of that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. Wallahu basirum bima ya'malun. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all seeing and all knowing of everything that they are doing. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and give us the proper, a view towards public trusts and the property of one another, and particularly the property of the public. And give us the tawfiq, if any of us are entrusted with anything of that nature, that we fulfill that trust in the best and possible way. Ameen thumma ameen. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.